Oh man, I read an excellent article on why the internet sucks for satire yesterday.
Oh, really?
Like
It's because
three specific
there's no irony
examples.
on the internet. It's
Yes,
all
like
direct.
people who even the person themselves was like, I fell victim to not understanding the satire and attacking someone because I thought that they were serious and they
Yeah.
weren't.
There is a
I walk a very thin line on yesterday's news where I'm like, I can't tell that joke because people won't understand.
yeah. There is a irony mark. There is a small movement to, and there's a Wikipedia page on this as well, to deploy in the English language or on the internet an irony mark, a mark of irony, a punctuation mark for irony. It's a backwards question mark
Okay, it
that you
doesn't
would,
it doesn't show up in my browser. It just turns into a
oh, a
missing
goofy
character
thing.
box.
It's a backwards question
I
mark.
see it in the there's a picture on the page.
Oh, that's really old. But yeah, it's a way to just denote that what you're saying is satirical or ironic or, not intended to be taken seriously. Um, which is sad, but it's there.
Well, we're not always the brightest creatures.
No, we're the smartest ones that we've heard of yet.
I thought dolphins and mice were smarter.
Mice can't be that smart, right?
In Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh. I still don't even get that reference. I know dolphins. Mice were also super smart.
Mice are the
Oh,
ones
wait, that's
running the
yeah, he was a
experiment.
mouse. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Oh, so you saw Oculus? Did you like it?
Yes,
Wasn't it really good? I might see it after we record
it was
again.
stunningly good.
I didn't want to give away anything about how it's edited and how the story works, but I was so impressed that they so successfully went back and forth so much until by the end it's just
Without
like
really
every
making you
other.
confused.
That's what the lady behind me was confused about, and that's why I didn't want to record a video about it, because I think that that's like the biggest spoiler of the movie is how the story works.
Yeah,
Um,
because if they had told a timeline that was so close together that they were using the same actors, they would have had to like color code it or keep
yeah,
putting timestamps on the screen or something. But because it was kids and adults, they were able to put them in the same frame
yeah.
together.
By the end, they were doing that. Yeah, like that was impressive. Yeah,
Very
and I
cool
was
idea.
I was also really impressed that they didn't really do any mirror gags, even though the whole thing is about a mirror. There was only the one at the beginning where she sees the thing in the warehouse.
Maybe he very consciously decided
I
like
think so.
this is the one thing I need to avoid.
Yeah, it's like if you're doing a whole movie about a mirror, it's almost like doing you know, like running like but on one leg or something. You have to get a little more creative.
Yeah.
And they didn't there were so many good things about it. Like they didn't linger on the whole maybe she's crazy, maybe he's crazy. It's just like no, we're going to do that for like 5 minutes and then it's like nope, it's totally real. Moving on. We're not going to string this along for the entire movie.
About halfway through, it was just very clear that you couldn't really trust anything.
Oh yeah, and I love that. That was good. It was just really I was really impressed.
Even
I
by
thought
the
it,
end, you have no idea what actually happened. I at some point I was like, maybe one of these people doesn't exist, and then once he kills her at the end and they take him away and they
I'm
see
pretty sure
the dead
that's all.
body, I'm like, okay, I guess they both existed.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
not
pretty
going
sure
for that little thing.
yeah, I'm pretty sure the end was all real. But like, several people in the audience were like, when that happened, they're like, no. Like you could just tell that they were like, no, there has to be more. And then it's like, nope.
No, no.
So that's another thing. There were not multiple endings. I thought the actors were all really like good. I was like, oh, this is really impressive. I'm like, and it was made for $5 million.
That their dad every so often really looked like Dave Matthews. From certain angles, I was
I
like,
didn't even.
it's Dave Matthews.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't even. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the lady was just behind me. She was just like, "What's happening? I don't understand."
Shut up and watch.
And I'm like, I felt particularly bad because I wanted to be like, you know, it could be worse. In the hands of a less competent team, this movie would be much more confusing. I'm following it along just fine. But
Yeah, it could be a Saw 4.
oh god, I hate the Saw movies. I just watched all the Scream movies, and I have them on Blu-ray now. And they have an unskippable 3 trailers at the beginning of each one of them, which is so
Why
annoying.
did they? It seemed like when they went to Blu-ray players, they put that feature. They removed the feature that you could skip
it's
things.
It's part of the Blu-ray spec. You can't get the Blu-ray label on your device if you don't allow discs to make trailers unskippable.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Not only that, but
Sony
they want you to connect to the internet so they can download new shit and advertise that.
Yeah, exactly. And the menus are all bananas. It's bad. But anyway, the 2 trailers were related to Scream, and then one was just everything that New Line does. Maybe not New Line. What's the one where the horror movie like studio where it's like a door and the key?
Lionsgate.
Lionsgate. It was Lionsgate was doing. Dimension did the distribution for Scream. I don't know. Maybe they became Lionsgate. I don't know. And they were showing like a whole bunch of Lionsgate like movies all in a row. And I forget why I was even talking about that. There was a movie in there that I was going to mention, but it's like I spent so much brain effort trying to remember Lionsgate that I lost it. Anyway, yeah, Oculus was really good. I read that they're delaying in like somewhat indefinitely. Series 4 of Sherlock because Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch are so super famous now they can't schedule them anymore for a little BBC show. Stephen Moffat said that like we might even start recording as early as December. And Martin Freeman said like, yeah, that's not happening. It's like we're booked for everything.
Well, how did he have time to do the fucking FX show or whatever?
That's part of his commitment. He's making more money. I don't think they make a lot of money on BBC.
And I'm sure it's quite a time commitment.
Yeah, and it's like they're an hour and a half long. You have to do 3 of them, and it's like so complicated. And yeah, I'm sure it takes a really long time. But I'm pretty sure Stephen Moffat said that they've got like season 4 is written, and they already have ideas for season 5, and it's just like they can't schedule them at all. It's just like impossible. Because they're so super famous.
Ugh.
I know. The Hobbit. Fuck The Hobbit. Ugh. The Hobbit is a life ruiner. It ruins lives.
By making you famous.
By making you famous and taking up all your time.
Yeah, just look at all the projects Elijah Wood got. He was on Red vs. Blue season 10.
He did that show on FX, Wilfred.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
I just thought it was weird that after Lord of the Rings, Bernie Burns was tweeting like, guess who we got for season 10? Elijah Wood. And I was like, what?
He was Frodo Baggins.
That's Frodo.
He probably never has to work again, though, in his life. Or maybe not. Maybe he didn't make any money. He did a remake of the movie Maniac, which was really weird. It's on Netflix if you want to check it out. He was a super creep ball.
He was a creepy guy in Sin City.
Yes, he was. He made me watch. Okay. It's an odd-numbered week, I believe.
Yes, this will be lucky number 13.
Number 13, how about that? So we
didn't even try that.
Yeah. It was just like, horror novels. I had the book out, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about House of Leaves. Let's do horror novels. Yeah, so you go first.
Okay.
And I go second. Horror novels are breaking? Horror novels? No.
Horror literature.
Horror How do you say that word? Literature?
Literature. I use 4 syllables.
Literature. Horror literature.
I believe either is acceptable. But
yeah, but that reminds me of like literally and literally. I prefer literally because that's literally how it's spelled. Literally. I honestly can't think of it. I was still thinking of Stephen King movies. Do you mind if I would detour for just a second?
No.
Stephen King film adaptations. List of adaptations of works by Stephen King. Okay. The 80s anthology movie I was thinking of was Creepshow.
Right.
Cujo. It's fine. The Dead Zone. That's a decent movie.
I haven't read the book, so I don't know how.
Oh, okay. I haven't read the book. I am not hugely opposed to the Dead Zone. You've seen the movie?
Yes, I've seen the film.
That's a pretty good movie. But then again, it might be totally different from the book.
It was his own, like, Stephen King's obsessed with the JFK assassination. And I think I think that story feeds into that, like the idea of preventing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's just like I thought it was just really everything about it was really great. The actors are really good. Everything about it was really good.
One of the movies, one of the roles that Christopher Walken has played, that he's not just a total weirdo.
Yes. Well, he was still young, man.
It took him time to grow into the weirdness.
Yeah. There was a miniseries sequel to Salem's Lot called A Return to Salem's Lot. Misery. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Is it like the book? Have you read the book?
It's very similar. It's just kind of shortened. Like, there's a lot more that happens, but
yeah,
it isn't really necessary to tell
Misery.
the story.
I will. All right. Well, there's one.
I think again, it comes down to the two actors, two great actors.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking this entire adaptation list and I'm plopping it into Excel really quickly. Don't make fun. So taking out the 9 to be announced, he's done. There are 61 adaptations.
He's only written 80 books.
Most of them have been adapted, and we can think of
some
one
of them multiple times.
Oh, you know what? Well, it's not a horror movie, but you know, it's Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank.
But I don't count that.
And Stand By Me.
Yeah, no. I'm horror movies. Green Mile as well. It's like no. So probably out of like 50 horror movie adaptations, one of them have been good. he's batting 2%. It's not. It's the directors and the writers and what.
He's not really involved.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He cashes the check.
The Lawnmower Man was based on something he did?
I don't know anything about that.
Really? Not even the movie?
Nope.
The sort of simple lawnmower man who like gets drugs from Pierce Brosnan and then takes over a virtual reality world? No,
Nope.
You never. Great 90s movie. It's really bad, but yeah. The Dark Half, that was terrible. All the Children of the Corns. Ugh. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they come back again, sometimes they come back for more. Yeah. Secret Window. That was not good.
That was not a good one.
Johnny Depp. Yeah. Not very good. Okay. I'm satisfied now. All right, I'm going to try to contain myself with House of Leaves.
It's 1:30.
What is that?
I'm just telling you that you're starting at 1:30.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, if it gets to like 4 or something, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So I think I kept myself pretty reined in there. The one other thing I wanted to mention is that I said that Mark Danilewski comes from a fairly eccentric and creative family. His sister is a musician who goes by the stage name Poe. Have you heard of her?
Yeah.
She did that song "Hey Pretty" and "Angry Johnny." Those are like some fairly famous singles of hers.
Yeah.
So the song "Hey Pretty" that was a single on the radio back, in like 2000. It is from an album called Haunted that she created at the same time Mark was writing House of Leaves, and they collaborated. So there is a narrative in the album Haunted, which follows the Navidson record in theme. So there is a song called 5.5 Minute Hallway, which references a short film in House of Leaves called 5.5 Minute Hallway. But the thing that Poe did, she went over and above, and I it almost sounds kind of a little like interrobang to me. Not only is there this narrative in the album Haunted that syncs up in some ways with House of Leaves, she found all of these old recordings of their then deceased father. He made like dozens of hours of recordings to them when they were kids in case one day he passed away, and she took all of those recordings of him and put them into the narrative of her album. So his voice is like a part of the songs, and she even has like conversations back and forth with him, her present day self, with the recordings. It's a pretty remarkable piece of work, and also fairly, deconstructive and like
Right.
whatever. And when I discovered this book and that album at the same time, and just the intersection of the two of them was one of those just like earth-shattering moments for me.
I have an English degree, and I took a literary criticism class, and in it, that was the first time that I ever read Thomas Pynchon, and I don't think I understood until years later that my teacher, who was an adjunct professor, I think he got stuck with this class. And he kind of like spent a lot of the curriculum talking about how literary criticism is a bunch of bullshit, which is weird for a class about literary criticism.
Isn't that interesting?
And it took me years, and I was finally like, why did I read Thomas Pynchon in that? Like, why did we spend so much time talking about postmodernism if we were supposed to be talking about criticism of literature? And postmodernism is basically like, criticism doesn't matter. It was awesome.
I had to take a continental philosophy course and learn about Heidegger and Sartre and all that bullshit. Sorry, fans.
That's all right.
Of those works. And for my final paper, I basically did a close reading with quotation marks around it of H.P. Lovecraft using the tools of Sartre and Merleau-Ponty, and that was basically my own satire. The whole paper was my own satire of the entire field, because I'm like, look, I'm just gonna use this on a book of fiction, your silly little things. And I remember the professor was like, this is exactly what this is supposed to be used for. And I'm like, damn it, my satire is not satire at all. It's actually what you guys do. Fuck!
You became a Poe.
I did. Yay. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Silicon Valley, or is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first 2 episodes of that. It's okay. I wasn't totally keen on the first episode. I liked the second one better, and it hooked me a little more.
The protagonist is definitely wishy-washy, noodly, kind of like he needs to find a direction.
Yes.
Which is kind of frustrating, but also clearly what they're going for.
Yeah. And I don't much care for the dude who runs the house, but it's fine.
He was one of the only people who I already knew. I knew him. I knew Martin Starr. And
yeah, I know Martin Starr.
The Indian guy.
I don't know anybody in it except Martin Starr.
Kumail Nanjiani.
3 people in the space of like 2 days all got in touch with me and was like, you need to watch this show.
It's just because of it's because it's written for us.
Yeah.
It's written for the people who would get all of the jokes that reference Google and jobs.
They got Eric Schmidt to actually play Eric Schmidt in the first episode. It's crazy.
I was like, is that really? And then I saw it on the credits, and I was like, that was really Eric Schmidt.
I'm like, that's Eric Schmidt right there.
I knew Mike Judge had like some kind of tech job. That's like the reason that Office Space happened. Yeah. But it was like he got out of college with a degree in like programming or something, went to work in like a Boeing lab or something, and just ran into a bunch of people, kind of like the people in Silicon Valley that just have all of their heads up their own asses. And he was like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, it's terrible. My best friend works out there, and it sounds like the worst.
And then good for us, because he went on to make a bunch of great stuff.
Yeah, that's like the same thing that happened with Jonathan Colton. He was a programmer.
Yep.
Doing the same thing. Apparently that's what happens.
It doesn't work for certain creative people. They're just like, this is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, all of the titles are these little douchey startup-y things that I've heard of many, many, many times before. Like minimum viable product. And third-party insourcing.
Can't be consumer-facing. It has to be business-facing.
Everybody wants to make it consumer-facing. They have no idea. I can't even... the outtakes are always like new to me, because it's so long ago that I'm like, I don't even remember that.
We said this?
What? That happened? What? I remember you texted me, you wanted me to say whatever I don't trust any critics that are outside of the genre for horror movies.
Right. I wanted you to say it in like the nerdiest way possible.
In the way that I would say it, in the way that I was saying it when I texted it to you.
I don't trust any of it.
I just don't trust any critics who aren't in the genre, because what do they know?